two companies that actually hire hustlers. And that's all they do. They're strictly on a commission. They're not paid any kind of salary, anything at all. They're just strictly commission.
You mean these two companies just work with hustlers? That's their entire business. That's the way they make their entire business.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is.
Well, now, does the sheriff's office tolerate hustlers? I mean, it's against the law, but do they tolerate them?
I've never been bothered. None at all. I've never been asked anything, are you a hustler? I've never been approached with the sheriff's office. I would say yes, the sheriff's department tolerates it, or just overlooks it.
We want the sermon now, Bishop. We want it right now.
Right now. Right now. Right now. The sermon now. Right now.
Right now.
Now.
There be an official response to the demonstration?
No, I think not. There will not be any official response to the demonstration. You see, you don't respond to rowdyism. You respond to law and order and justice. Law, order, and justice. And there will not be any official response to this, as far as I'm concerned. There might be further demonstrations. I doubt it. There'll be no need for it. Nobody is trying to make anybody do anything. We are just trying to carry on as religious men and women in the nation and in the church.
They want the people's homeowners to sell out, and where they can probably take the people's land on them outside. They didn't say they're not interested in the people's out of Roosevelt, but I know the city, if they can get the other people to fall for this little minimum of $15,000, which they're not going to get $15,000. Now the way they got it set up, this was voted for zone for industrial, and I know it's worth more than $15,000 per lot.
We went down to the city council's chambers. We had a chance to say whether we wanted to be relocated or we didn't. Most of the homeowners did sign to be relocated. Some didn't have in mind of being relocated at the present time. But after talking to the people down at the city council, they changed their minds that night and signed to be relocated after the 27th of June. My purpose is to push the barn issue because everybody here will benefit something, because all we're getting right now is more floods.
Gentlemen, it's with a great deal of pleasure that we announce today that the Detroit Red Wings will return to the Will Rogers Coliseum next season as the 5th member of the Central Hockey League.
Were you surprised by this action, Don?
Yes, I was delighted, but I was surprised. And I know it's going to please a lot of the sports fans in Fort Worth. A lot of the hockey fans were concerned that there wasn't going to be anything to do next winter. But now things will go on this season as they did the previous 5 seasons.
At the present time, Boyd, the situation appears to be the same as it was, although either late this week or early next week, the hockey club will hold a press conference and outline the plans that are being made for the future of the Fort Worth Wings Hockey Club per se, and I'll be able to answer more at that time. Right now, I'm really not in a position to spell out the details as to how the hockey club is going to function in terms of player personnel, what my position is going to be, or anything else.
Have you had any explanation from Detroit about the sudden reversal of plans?
Norm, this is one of the reasons why I really want to hold off until Thursday. We're back in town, and it's due to the efforts of Don Magnus and Rip Johnson that the Wings have returned. It's also due to the response that Detroit received from the people of Fort Worth.
Well, I think the spirit of our ball club's always been great, even though we've had very poor years and we've had poor ball clubs in the past. Our spirit's always been great. I think we've always had hustling ball clubs. For the first time since I've been in this organization, Jerry, we've got some young boys that can play, gonna play, and gonna be great ball players. Well, I won't say great, but we're gonna, very fine ball players. And we hope that, like I say, if fundamentally we can teach them and help them, that in the years to come, they're going to give the people here in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Arlington area some great baseball. We think we have a great spirit on our ball club. We hustle, and we're young. We're going to make some mistakes, but the thing is to keep them at a minimum, to try to improve, and to eventually have a very respectable ball club, and I think they're going to have.
Frank, come the early part of next week when this interview will be shown, you'll be at Fenway Park. How do you hit there? What kind of a record have you had?
Well, I've had, like most ballparks, Jerry, I've had a few good days in that ballpark. I've had a lot of bad ones. But it's a great ballpark to hit in. It's a great place to play baseball. They've got tremendous fans up there. The ballpark is small. It's intimate. It's everything I think the game of baseball is. I think you have a finer fan appreciation of the game sitting in a small, intimate ballpark like that. It's a great place to play baseball in, Jerry.
The ages here is 6 to 18, and we got about 20 from 6 to, I suppose, 10 or 11, and then about 20 more boys from 12 to 18.
What kind of a training period do they go through?
Well, it's a 2-week session, and what we do is teach them the basic fundamentals for the first week and a half, and then we start getting into more of the harder parts of the game, and then finally we wind it up at the end with a hockey game on Friday night. It should be interesting.
What's the first big thing to learn in becoming a hockey player as a youngster?
Well, you just can't do anything wrong when you learn how to skate right. The easier it is for you to skate, the easier the game becomes. You learn to stop and start and turn both ways, and it makes the game an awful lot easier, and that's all included in your skating. And that's where the kids lack here because they don't have the ice time. They're not proficient enough skaters to be able to play the game as well as they should. But they, like I say, they've got a lot of heart and they make up for it in effort.
What is your name?
Brian Dillard.
What position you play, Brian?
Defense.
Is it tough up there? Do you like to give them the old shoulder, bounce them off against the boards?
Yeah, I did some of that today. I got the puck and it cleared a couple of times, but every once in a while, Huddy or Kenny Brown would get it and they'd pass it to somebody. I'd get kind of mad. You know, that's what makes me check everybody.
In other words, you'd like to go down and score yourself, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
What kind of coaches are Huddy and Kenny Brown? Who yells at you the more?
Brownie, I think. He'll yell at you and he'll make funny noises and he pulls stunts on you. You know, like you're going the wrong way and you aren't, and then you turn around and go the other way and go, you're going the wrong way. And so, they're pretty good coaches, at least I think so.
The tribute came in the form of a check for $100 from a donor who asked that his name not be revealed, and a letter of commendation from Lone Star Gas Company Senior Vice President Louis B. Hulsey. Making the presentation was Vice President Weldon Branscombe, representing the company's president, William McCord. There was one other tribute, however, that from Keith Phillips himself, a tribute that defies description by all the words written by all the great journalists of the world. Jerry Park, Channel 8 News on the Move.
This morning's portion of the convention, which was in fact a church service, started quietly enough. The convention enjoyed hymns and conducted the worship until President Nixon's brother George was announced. Then a group came to the stage in protest of the speech, saying a political speech was out of place in a worship service. Mr. Nixon appeared on the stage and was introduced, but was never actually allowed to speak. Secret Servicemen whisked him away shortly after the demonstration began, saying he had a plane to catch. The presiding bishop at the convention, Reverend D. Ward Nichols, deplored the demonstration, but said there would be no official action taken.
You know, the best part of this whole thing this year for me has been discovering the women in this country. The women in this country are first rate, and there are a number of very, very competent and very able ones. They are often undertitled and underpaid, and they're less visible as a result. So it's a question of finding them, getting people to think women a little bit and think of where the competent ones are. So to answer your question, they're there. It's a question of just bringing them a little closer to the surface.
Now, could you explain to me kind of the way a hustler is hired by a bondsman? Is he hired?
Yes, in a way he is hired. I say this in a way. There is actually no agreement. All it is actually is you could say it's an agreement. comes up and just asks the man, do you need any help? And the bondsman will say, yes, you can hustle bonds if you want to. It's up to you. Which this is actually illegal, because you can go to jail for hustling bonds.
How widespread is this hustling?
Pretty widespread.